Okay, so I'm going to go over what we went over yesterday real fast, and then I'm going to go into the new stuff. So I will let you know in class what you can skip to, but for right now I'm just going to explain once again what we were doing yesterday. Remember, we were using this formula, n minus 2 multiplied by 180. What this is supposed to tell you is the sum of all the interior angles on any polygon. Okay, no matter how many sides it had. Now, on one side of the sheet, you had a list of different things that said something like sum of interior angles, sum of single angle, sum of exterior angles, and then one exterior angle, so on and so forth. Now I'm going to reteach how to actually find all of these to get you back to where you're going, where you're getting the actual side number, because once you get the side number you should be able to find the rest. So once again, if they give you the side number, let's say the side number is 8, okay, define the sum. If the side number is, okay, so if the side number is 8, define the sum, what we do is we plug it into this formula. This formula is for the sum of interior. So you take 8 minus 2 and we multiply it by 180. So this would end up being 6 times 180, which would be 1080. And that's what you would write in the little box there. You'd write 1080 would be the sum of the interior angles. And then to find a single angle, well, you just take this divided by this. Okay, so if I wanted a one interior angle, I'll just take 1080 and divide it by 8. And if I did that, 1080 divided by 8, you would get 135. So a single angle would be 135. And then sum of exterior should always be 360. And then finally, to find one exterior angle of something like this, you just take, once again, the sum divided by how many sides you got. So one exterior, you would take 360 divided by 8. You would get 45. That's how you find them all if you know the side number. If you don't know the side number, I'm going to explain with the different parts that they will give you. If they give you the sum of interior, okay, so if they give you the sum of the interior, let's say we had 700 and let's say we had 720. They said the sum of the interior was 720 degrees. Well, we would use what we know. Okay, so we know this formula should equal this. So we know that n minus 2 multiplied by 180 should give us 720. So our first step should be to distribute into the two things on the inside to get 180n minus 360 equals 720. From there, you would solve like a normal two-step equation. First, get rid of the 360. And then you would divide by 180. And you would get n equals 6, meaning you had 6 sides. So you could use the 6, you go back, fill in this thing, and then you could find the remaining 3 based off of that. Okay? But let's say you were given, I don't know, the one interior angle was 36. This is a little bit trickier. This is why it's a little bit trickier, because the formula for this is our angle sum formula. But for this one, it's actually our angle sum formula divided by the number of sides that the object has. That little n under there makes it a little bit more tricky. So once again, if you have one interior angle, you're going to use this formula here, and you're just going to set it equal to whatever the number they gave you. So our first step is technically get rid of this n. How we do that is multiply both sides by n. But what we're really doing is we're just taking this n, putting it next to this 36. So it ends up being n minus 2 times 180 equals 36n. And now, just like before, we're going to do the same thing. Okay? We're going to first distribute. Now, instead of adding the 360, we need to subtract the ends because we have to get the ends on both sides. So first we're going to get rid of 180. Alright, this is going to give us negative 360 equals 144 and negative 144n. And then our next step would be divide by negative 144. And when we did that, we would get n equals 2.5. Now technically you're never going to get decimal when it comes to side length, so don't worry too much about that. I just took a shot in the dark of what could an angle be, but whatever. That's how you figure out. Same process every time. All you're doing is just switching the numbers. So let's say it was 80. Instead of having 80 here, just the 36 are changing 80 all the way down, and you do the same exact process. You're always going to be subtracting the 180 in on both sides, and then you're going to be dividing by whatever negative number you end up with. And then finally, if they give you one exterior angle, let's say they gave you 5. Okay, so 5 is your exterior angle they gave you. Well, to figure that out, we had to take 360 divided by n. That's the formula to find one exterior angle, is take 360 divided by the number of sides. And we set it equal to 5. Once again, just like before, when you have an n on the bottom, you're technically multiplying both sides by n, but an easier way of just saying this is you're moving the n next to this 5. So it's going to be 360 equals 5n, and then you would just divide by 5. You divide by 5, and would give you 72. So there would be a 72 side figure. And then from there, all you need to do is figure out n. That's what we're always trying to figure out, the number of sides. From there, you should be able to find everything else, because based off of their formulas, because sum of interior should always be n minus 2 times 180. One exterior should be n minus 2 times 180 divided by n. And then one exterior should always be 360 divided by n, where n is the number of sides you have. Okay. Now on to today's lesson. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about trapezoids and kites. We're going to do the basics, and then tomorrow we'll get a little bit more advanced. But trapezoids and kites. So, let's start with trapezoids. Okay, so trapezoids. What's special about trapezoids is this. One, these two sides are parallel to each other. Okay, so these two sides are parallel to each other, and because these two sides are parallel to each other, excuse me, it makes a couple different rules. And the first rule is that any two angles, as long as they're not diagonal from each other, should add up to 180. That should mean that this and this one, I'm just going to label these. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It means 1 and 2. 1 plus 2 equals 180. 3 plus 4 equals 180. 1 plus 3 equals 180. 2 plus 4 equals 180. But 1 plus 4 does not equal 180. Nor does 2 plus 3. It does not equal 180. Because these are diagonal from each other, they don't add up to 180. Or they won't for the most part. Now, that's one special rule about kites. The second special rule is its area formula. Its area formula is 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Technically the height should be over here, so let me rewrite that for you real fast. Actually, 1/2 height times base 1 plus base 2. What this means, guys, is that if you have both bases and the height times by 1/2, you should be able to get the height itself. So let me show you something like, okay, so let's say we had a trapezoid like this. Its bottom base was 10, its top base was 8, and its height. Now, height is measured from top to bottom, not by these diagonals. So if you ever see a number on these diagonals, just know that you need to ignore it. But top, bottom, height. So let's say we had a height of 4. So to figure this out, it's pretty easy. You just fill in what you know. You know 1/2. The height we know is 4 now. And now we know the base 1 is 10 plus base 2, which is 8. And if we do this in our calculator, you take 1/2 times parentheses 4 times 10 plus 8. Or another way of saying this is going to be 1/2 times 4 times 18. If you do that, you'll end up with 36. And that's how you would find the area. Now, why I told you okay, so the area should be pretty easy to find out. Just know that you never use this side. Never use the sides for your height. You're only going to be using the base, the bottom, and this part. With this, what you'd use this for is the fact that, like, if you knew this side and it asked you, let's say you knew angle 2 and it asked you for the rest of the angles, you should be able to figure this out. Because if I told you angle 2 was, I don't know, 36 degrees. Say we said angle 2 was 36 degrees. Well, how would we figure out angle 1? Well, we know that angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180. So all we gotta do is take 180 minus 36. If we take 180 minus 36, we should end up with this. 144.